Good day everyone. In this afternoon, we are going to discuss about the Republic Act number 10157. This act refers to the institutionalizing the kindergarten education into the basic education system and appropriating funds therefore. Section number 1, this refers to the Kindergarten Education Act. So as we all know that kindergarten education is the vital to the academic and technical development of the Filipinos child for the period when the young mind's absorbed capacity for learning is at its sharpest. In section number 2, Declaration of Policy, in consonance with the Millennium Development Goals on achieving education for all, by the year 2015, it is hereby declared the policy of the state to provide equal opportunities for all children to avail of accessible, mandatory, and compulsory kindergarten education that effectively promotes physical, social, intellectual, emotional, and skills, stimulation, and values. Formation to sufficiently prepare them for formal elementary schooling. So this act shall apply to elementary school system being the first stage of compulsory and mandatory formal education. Thus, kindergarten will now be an integral part of the basic education system for the country. Na diri state nga ang kaning kindergarten daw is mo ni siya ang key para makaproceed ka sa grade 1. So kaning kindergarten is mandatory ni siya para ang mga estudyante if makuha nila diri ma-test kung ang student is pwede na sila i-refer sa grade 1 or pwede pa ba nga ibilin pa sila pagka kindergarten. Section number 3 stated the definition of terms. So the first one is DepEd shall refer to the Department of Education. Second, BE shall refer to the Bureau of Elementary Education. The third one is kindergarten education shall be understood in this act to mean 1 year of preparatory education for children at least 5 years old as a prerequisite for grade 1, and mother tongue refers to the language first learned by a child. So diri nag-state din nga ang kindergarten is mo ni siya ang preparatory para makaproceed ka sa grade 1. If ang imong edad pa kay 4 nga if ang edad nimo is 4 pa, so di pagyapon ka makaproceed sa grade 1 kay ang requirement kay bali nga edad kung mag grade 1 na ka is 5 years old. Then the first language that you should learn kung magkuan ka sa imong mga sa kinder is mother tongue or their dialect. In section number 4, it talks about the institutionalization of kindergarten education. Kindergarten education is hereby institutionalized as part of basic education and for school year 2011-2012 shall be implemented partially, and thereafter it shall be made mandatory and compulsory for entrance to grade 1. As what I have said earlier, that kindergarten is a preparatory or it is a key for to be able to proceed to the grade 1. In section number 5, it talks about the medium of instruction. So the state shall hereby adopt the mother tongue based multilingual education or MTB-MLE method. The mother tongue of the learner shall be the primary medium of the instruction for teaching and learning in the kindergarten level. However, exemptions shall be made to the following cases. So, diri sa kindergarten nga ang inyong gamiton na language is basically the dialect or the mother tongue for your students or for your pupils to dali ra sila makasabot. Kaya ang gigamit ninyo nga medium is Bisaya or unang nga dialect ang ilahang na prefer or ilahang na masabtan og dali. However, there are exemptions kung ang isa ka kuan is dili jud siya makasabot. So when the pupils in the kindergarten classroom have different mother tongues or when some of them speak another mother tongue. So pwede ka kanang magkuan kay if your students is diverse, kung if your pupils are diverse nga naay lahi na Kamayo, naay Bisaya or ano ba. So dinhi pwede ka makakuan nga pwede ra nimo dili kaayo ka maggamit og mother tongue, dapat imo pudtun-an ang katong duha ka mother tongue kay maglisod man ka og pasabot sa imong mga estudyante tungod kay lahi-lahi tag mga dialekto nga na hibaw-an. That's why nga as a teacher or yeah, as a teacher, so you should learn nga kung unsay mga pamaagi para sila makasabot. Then second, when the teacher does not speak the mother tongue of the learners. So kani pud siya is ang teacher pwede na siya magamit og kuan kung dili jud pud ka makabalo sa ilahang mother tongue. Kanang dili ka makakuan kay lahi man ilaha, lahi pud imuha dialect. So pwede ra pud ka nga igamit nimo ang imuhang dialect. Then the third one is when resources in line with the use of the mother tongue are not yet available, and diri apod if not available pa like kanang mga books sa mother tongue or kanang unsa pa na mga tools nga gigamit pa sa mga mother tongue like mao'y gigamit nga medium. So if not available, then pwede ra pud ka magkuan dili magamit kayo og mother tongue. Then when teachers are not yet trained how to use the MTB-MLA program, so mahimo pud ni siyang exemption kung ang teacher pud is dili siya kabalo mo speak og Bisaya or uno nga dialect ang kuan. Tas isa pa dili po siya kabalo kaayo about sa mother tongue nga program. In such exemptional cases, so the primary medium of instruction shall be determined by the DepEd aligned with the framework being used in the elementary level, including teacher training and production of local resources and materials under DepEd Order number 74 series of 2009. So dinhi that's why the DepEd nagakuan silang program or nagahatag din silang mga training sa mga teacher on how to handle their pupils nga lahi-lahi og mga dialect. They are giving trainings, mga resources, books that are related to the mother tongue so that there's the pupils can makasabot pud as well as ang ilahang ang teacher pud is train sila on how to handle, on how to organize pupils with diverse dialect. The DepEd, in coordination with the Commission on Filipino Language and in close collaboration with academic and research institutions concerned with education, shall formulate a mother tongue-based multilingual framework for teaching and learning, provided that the DepEd will include teaching strategies as defined in Section 7, which aims to introduce and eventually strengthen the child's understanding of English, which is the official language. So, dinhiya is students are able to speak mother tongue, but pero ang ilahang gikuan jud nga language, which is the universal language, which is ang English. So mo pud jud ni sila ang gi-aim. Pero ang kanilang ang mother tongue gigamit lang ni siya para dali lang masabtan sa mga pupils or students ang imuhang gustong ipasabot. Labi na kanang naka-English siya, so tas ang imuhang mga estudyante is di kayo literate sa English. So mao nang mag-use na kag mother tongue para makasabot ang imuhang mga estudyante or imuhang mga pupils. In section number 6, it talks about the implementing agency. So the authority to regulate the organization, operation, and or implementation of the kindergarten education program of both public and private schools shall be vested upon the DepEd. So through the creation of the new division under the BEE and other necessary supports to achieve successful implementation of kindergarten education to include, but not limited to, increasing the number of kindergarten teacher positions with the required salaries and benefits, enhancing teacher training in early education, and providing the necessary allocations for classrooms and chairs, facilities and equipment, and textbook. So that's why the private schools and public schools must be aligned also to the DepEd, because kani ang DepEd is sila yung mag-a-approve kung okay ba na siya i-establish na nga mga kuan, kasi sila yung sila ang nihatag og budget for the materials, sa mga salary sa kuan, nga salary sa teachers, sa mga mga training sa teachers. So mo na kung naay mga plano ang mga teachers regarding to sa ilahang mga kindergarten, so ilapod na mo kuan sila dito sa DepEd, because ang DepEd is sila yung kuan kibali mo approve or sila yung kuan kung okay ba na siya or dili.
In my continuation, I will be discuss the Section 7 duties, powers, and functions. The DepEd through the BEE shall exercise the following powers and functions: oversee, supervise the organization, operation, and implementation of the kindergarten education program. Develop the curriculum for kindergarten education consistent with the universally accepted norms and standards, including various formation, all of which shall be developmentally appropriate, and use of the MTV MLE as a medium of instruction, and to periodically review such for purposes of upgrading. So here in section 7, there are four developed teaching strategies using the unique feature of the MTB MLE, which shall include, but not limited to, the following. A. The two-track method of storytelling and reading, listening story, oral communication, and activities. B. Interactive strategies. C. Use of manipulative games. And last is experiential small group discussions and total physical response, or TPR, among others. The learning development materials shall consist of the following at the minimum. So, listening story, small books, big books, experience story, primer lessons, and lessons exemplars. Letter A, conceive, develop, and extend a continuing professional development program for kindergarten teachers to ensure constant updating of their knowledge in current trends, pedagogy, methodologies, and concepts on early childhood education. So here in letter A, he stated that you should update your student, labi na ang imo mga estudyante na kindergarten, kinahanglan mo sila i-guide or bantayan. So letter B, prescribe the necessary qualifications for the hiring and accreditation of teachers who will handle the kindergarten education program. So sa letter B, dapat ang teacher na ay iya quality to teach your students kay need gayud i-assess labo na sa mga haod ini na edad. So letter C, exercise authority over the operation of private kindergarten institutions. Letter D, supervise the establishment of various venues for early childhood education, which may be institution-based, home-based, hospital-based, or community-based, and which shall be duly accredited by the DepEd. So, nganhi sa letter B, dapat ang institution dapat na ay iya quality education for early childhood para mas damui ang ma-learn ng mga student. So, last, letter A, introduce innovative programs in kindergarten that shall include educational technologies whenever applicable. So, since we are now in modern technologies era, dapat ang mga students hibaw mogamit ng mga gadgets na connected dasab sa education. Section 8, Appropriations. The DepEd shall immediately include in the program of the department the operationalization of the free, mandatory, and compulsory public kindergarten education, and the initial funding of which shall be charged against the current appropriations for kindergarten education of the DepEd. Thereafter, such sums which shall be necessary for the continued implementations of the free public kindergarten education program shall be charged to the general fund and include in the Annual General Appropriations Act. So here in Section 8, gipasabot nga hina dapat ang mga bata need nila mo eskwela para matagaan sila ng opportunity na mo eskwela para maka-learn. Section 9, Implementing Rules and Regulation. Within 90 days after the effectivity of the Act, the DepEd, in consultation with the Department of Budget and Management, shall promulgate the rules and regulations needed for the implementation of this Act. So, here in Section 9, so nganhin na section na dapat within 90 days na dapat makita na ang improvement ng isa ka eskwelahan na gina-implement or effectivity ng school na dapat gina-promulgate nila ang rules and regulation. Section 10 Separability Clause. If any provision of this act is held invalid or unconstitutional, the same shall not affect the validity and effectivity of the other provisions hereof. So here in Section 10, so ini nga dina-act if dili effective or invalid, there is a possibility na ma-change or tanggalon ang dapat tanggalon. Section 11, Repealing Clause. Pertinent provisions of all other laws, decrees, executive orders, and rules and regulations contrary to or inconsistent with the provisions of this Act are hereby repealed or modified accordingly. So here in Section 11, stated that all laws or parts thereof inconsistent with any provision of this act shall be deemed repealed or modified as the case may be. Section 12 Effectivity Clause. This act shall take effect 15 days after its publication in the official gazette or in 2 newspapers of general circulation. So here in Section 12, stated that laws shall have only a prospective effect and must not be applied retroactively in such a way as to apply to pending disputes and cases. That's all. So this section 10, 11, and 12 has a connection.